You would be surprised to know that more than 60 million individuals in 230 nations all over the planet play golf. From Algeria to Australia, from Bolivia to Bahrain, there are golf courses in every part of the globe. Well, the history of golf is pretty rich, and there have been different speculations around it. Some might claim that it originates from the Roman Empire, but modern golf started in Scotland. But the question is, what is the real history of golf? Before we jump in to discover more, consider clicking the subscribe button and give this video a big thumbs up. It's important to know that a lot of things related to golf began in Scotland. Various nations have endeavored to make a case for being the origination of the game. However, not a single one of them has what Scotland has: unmistakable proof as verifiable records. The principal account of golf returns to March 6, 1457, when King James II restricted the game. The ruler expressed, "It is appointed and declared that football and golf be totally censured and not rehearsed." It gives the idea that he had somehow become tired of the game diverting his faithful subjects from military preparation. Think bows and arrows. Thus, by illustrious order, it was prohibited. Things remained the same for almost 50 years, before the boycott was at long last lifted when the Treaty of Glasgow was signed, also called the Treaty of Perpetual Peace, which happened in 1502. A critical crossroads throughout the entire existence of Britain, not simply golf. It shut down the fighting that Scotland and England had pursued against each other for the past 200 years. And while not totally fruitful, it made ready for the union of the crown a little more than a century after the fact. This prompted the start of Great Britain as we presently know it. For golf, the making of the Treaty of Glasgow was a turning point. With a decreased requirement for military preparation, individuals of Scotland could buy and take to the connections which established the groundwork for the game to turn into the worldwide game and multi-billion-dollar business that it is today. As recently noted, around 60 million individuals all over the planet currently play golf. To put that in context, that is multiple times the number of inhabitants in Scotland. For sure, if golf was a country, it would be the 23rd most populous country on the planet, bigger than South Africa, Canada, Argentina, South Korea, or Spain, and many other countries. In a new report, it was found that there are currently over 32,000 golf courses traversing 6 of the 7 continents. The most seasoned of all is seen in Scotland, on the east bank of Scotland, in the old college town of St. Andrews. Ecclesiastical overseer, Hamilton's charter from 1552 is the earliest recorded proof that individuals of the town were permitted to play golf on the well-known joins nearby the West Sands, primarily to permit the archbishop to raise hairs on the ground. The report likewise allowed them to keep playing at golf, football, scouting at games, and all other games as a pastime. Out of that sanction, the amazingly popular Old Course was carried. As well as being the home of the world's most established course, St. Andrews is broadly acknowledged as golf's profound and authoritative home of golf. The game's decisive body, the R&A, is based directly behind the main tee of the Old Course, with the impact of the game felt throughout the town. Interestingly, it was a St. Andrews man who stepped up the game's prevalence fundamentally during the 19th century. That man was Thomas Mitchell Morris Sr., though you might recognize him as Old Tom Morris. Brought into the world on June 16, 1821, Morris was the child of a weaver and began playing golf at 10 years of age. Neighborhood rumors had spread far and wide, suggesting that he used to thump wine bottle plugs penetrated with nails around the road of the town, utilizing a custom-made golf club. At 14 years old, he started an apprenticeship with Alan Robertson, for the most part viewed as the world's very first professional golfer. As well as running St. Andrews Links, Robertson was likewise the proprietor of the powerful hardware-making business, and Morris endured various years working with and gaining knowledge and skills from him before moving on to take up a task at Prestwick Golf Club in Ayrshire. It was there that he assisted with laying out golf's most memorable expert competition, the Open Championship. Morris struck the very first shot in the Open on October 17, 1860, where a further 7 golf players went along with him at Prestwick to compete for the challenge belt. Made using rich red Moroccan cowhide and decorated with a silver clasp and different seals, they thought the belt came from the Earl of Eglinton and was bought by the Prestwick individuals. Unfortunately for Morris, it was no fantasy win for him in that first year. It was Willie Park Sr. of Musselburgh, who entered the books as the very first champion golfer of the year, beating Old Tom to the title by just 2 shots. Old Tom, however, would win it the next year, and a further 3 more wins to add to his trophy case. His child, Young Tom, additionally won it 4 times. Since that first occasion, the Open has turned into a yearly event alongside the Masters, the US Open, and the USPGA Championship, and is one of golf's 4 men's major titles. It has been held consistently except for 1871 and during the First and Second World Wars, with the latest version in 2019 having been won by Shane Lowry. The Irishman became the 85th different player to take the title, although players don't play for the challenge belt anymore. All things being equal, the primary award is the famous Golf Champion Trophy, or more commonly known as the Claret Jug. It was first introduced in 1872, when another prize was required after the previously mentioned young Tom Morris won the challenge belt through and through in 1870, following his 3rd progressive triumph. Well, until this point in time, 7 unique Scottish courses have been arranged: Prestwick, St Andrews, Musselburgh Links, Muirfield, Carnoustie, Royal Troon, and Turnberry. Except for Prestwick and Musselburgh Links are included in what is known as the Open Rota. St Andrews has hosted the event more than some other clubs, multiple times in fact, and then some, with the event having occurred in Scotland more than 96 times. St Andrews will organize its 150th release in 2022, given the immense impact the old course has had on how golf is played today. For a certain part, it set the standard length of golf courses at 18 holes, having originally included 22. While considerable techniques that Old Tom Morris used to keep up with it, for example, top-dressing greens with sand and effectively overseeing dangers, set the benchmark for current greenskeeping. According to a real pro of the game, Old Tom was likewise seemingly the first golf course designer, loaning his talents to Royal Dornoch, Cruden Bay, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Numerous others followed his model, including Ellie James Braid, a 5-time Open winner, who was answerable for, among others, the Kings and Queens courses at Glen Eagles, Downfield, Boat of Garton, and Royal Musselburgh, and any semblance of Donald Ross, Mackenzie Ross, and some more. In later times, Scottish Rydercup winning captains Sam Torrance and Colin Montgomery had themselves taken action planning extraordinary courses of their own in their nations of origin. Torrance's eponymous connections at the Fairmont St Andrews Resort in Fife is one such model, while 8-time European Tour Order of Merit champ Montgomery made the well-known inland track at Rowallan Castle in Ayrshire. All things considered, there are more than 550 golf courses to explore in Scotland, meaning you're definitely spoiled for choice. It's no mean feat to say that the list of Scottish courses has for some time been recognized and is the envy of numerous different nations all over the planet. And they are likewise very reasonable and open. Regardless of how much or how little you need to spend on your golf course expenses, or whether or not you're a scratch golfer, or if you've never swung the club before in your life. Regardless of that, young or old, there is something for everyone in Scotland, and you don't have to look far to find it. Well, that's a great brief on the history of golf. What do you think about this video? Have you learned something new? Send us a comment in the comment section. If you like this video, you might also like this one: 10 tips to improve your golf game.